My name is Jothi Dugar. I work at the National Institutes of Health as one of their Chief Information Security Officers for their main clinical center, which is the main biomedical research hospital. It's actually the largest in the nation. So I take a lot of pride in that, learned a lot. As a CISO for the NIH Clinical Center, I'm responsible for pretty much maintaining a good security posture for all of their medical instruments, medical devices, as well as any normal system that you would encounter in any organization. But we are a full-fledged hospital, so we have everything and anything that a normal hospital would have. And we're also under the federal government, so we run the gamut on the complexity and different types of systems that you can imagine that we have. So as a CISO, when I first came about 7 years ago to the NIH Clinical Center, there wasn't a big emphasis on security. We are a hospital. Our primary care is taking care of the patients, doing clinical research, patient care. So one of the biggest challenges was introducing security to doctors, nurses, scientists, researchers, as well as executive management, and it was regarded as a a block to their jobs. But I would say in the last 7 years, it's improved dramatically. Based on recent events that have been happening, that kind of played a part as well. But also just the mindset and culture. I was able to get that to change, as well as to enhance their knowledge on what could happen if security wasn't taken seriously. So that's really improved a lot. I would say for medical devices and instruments, it's still an ongoing process, but we are at least introducing these concepts to the medical device vendors as well, because ideally they would be the one that would be responsible for securing their medical devices. But the word is getting out there. We're doing the best we can. One other challenge that I would say that we face is when you come from a government perspective, funding resources is always a key important topic to consider. So rather than just always saying we need more resources, we try to do things a little out of the box sometimes, or come up with different ways of tackling some of our challenges instead of always asking for more resources or more money. So one way we looked at outsourcing, not security per se, but where we can outsource, we try to do that. So let's say we try to put systems in the cloud where it makes sense. We haven't gotten to the point of putting systems that have a lot of PII, PHI in the cloud, but we are starting to kind of move towards some of our low-key public-facing systems that, hey, all the data is public anyway. And that might be one way of and not to say that we're putting it in the cloud and just leaving it out there, but it's a little bit easier on our end where if we don't have to worry about at least some of the security aspects. So that's, and also I would say finding the right people for your own teams. So I think before when I came into the job, I inherited personnel, and I was given an opportunity later to hire more personnel, and then you can really find what you need if you know what you're looking for. So I'm blessed to say today that I have a great team of security personnel with all kinds of skill sets. As you know, security is not just a technical field. There's a lot of different aspects of security. You have to be somewhat technical, but then you also have to have good management, project management skills, organizational skills, and even some sort of psychology would help too, because you have to know how to interact, deal with different people in different ways. So I try to bring in a lot of diversity and cultures to my own team so that we don't have just one mindset that when we're reaching out to customers, because our customers are doctors, nurses, scientists, researchers, and also IT staff that are very technical. So you have to know how to talk to the technical side of things. You also have to know how to talk to clinical staff who may not be technical, and how to put things in a certain way that they would understand and they would really relate to. Yes, I truly believe women can make great leaders. I think sometimes it's just giving them a little bit of a nudge that they can do it. I feel like sometimes as a woman, I know for myself, you have a lot of self-doubt. You don't want to put yourself out there sometimes, or it might be too risky. Or you're trying to have a work-life balance that you feel like, oh, if you take one step further in your career, you might not have that. But I speaking from my own experience, I do feel like you can do anything that you put your mind to. You just have to have that goal, and you have to just envision yourself as achieving that goal. And I have 3 kids myself, and I have this position, and I feel like you could do what you want. So I've been encouraging young women, even as early as middle school, high school, when I speak to them, like, hey, you can do anything that any male can do. So we have girls in football teams these days. So I told them, when they're looking for careers, don't just focus on things that you feel that you can feel comfortable with. Sometimes you have to feel a little uncomfortable, because then it's worth it. Because everything is too easy and too comfortable, then you might not be getting the satisfaction and fulfillment inside that you need and that you want. So I put myself out there when I first came. I had self-doubts as well. All my staff was males, as you can imagine. Senior executives were males. You look across the board. We are a hospital, so you did see a lot of females, but really not in a technical role, and especially not in leadership. So it took a lot of courage, I think, to just put yourself in that boat, and then come up with the right kind of skills. And as a woman, I do feel that we do have a lot to offer. We can be tough where needed, but sometimes being tough isn't really the best way to go. Sometimes just being empathetic and trying to understand the other person's perspective, and then trying to figure out how to best approach that person or approach the topic. And I do feel that sometimes when you have a lot of males in the room, or a lot of males across the board, they have a certain mindset, and they're kind of stuck with that particular mindset, which is more of a, hey, I said this, need this to happen. It's more of a tough, I said so please do it kind of mindset. Versus, I think as a woman, and where females are great at, is really understanding, like, okay, here's a topic, we need a solution, here's a solution I'm thinking, but let's get your opinion on it as well, or your perspective, and let's see if we can really work as a team on this, even if it's different levels of management. I do that with my team as well. I don't just go and bark orders at them and just expect them to do it. I'm like, okay, here's a problem, let's come up with a solution, and then what do you have to offer? So I know different people offer different kinds of technical skills, but also personal skills, as well as organizational skills. So I truly feel like if you kind of put everyone in a basket, it's like, okay, you offer your best part, you offer your best part. It blends together more naturally and more organically, versus I'm just going to assign somebody to do it, and I'm just going to tell them to do it, and it really doesn't drive well. But I have been speaking at universities, as well as at the school level as well, just to encourage women to go out there, take risks, don't be afraid. There's really no mistakes that you can make. If you applied for something, or you went out of the box and you did something and it didn't go in your favor, that's just something for you to learn from. Okay, maybe you'll try something different next time. Or you might have learned something from that experience, or you might have been a role model for others, like, hey, she put herself out there. It may not have gone the way you expected, but other people are learning from you. You can learn from others, and you can learn from the experience as well. Okay, maybe I'll do something different next time, or I'll take what I learned from this experience into the next. I really don't feel like there's really any mistakes you can make. So I think I just want to drive that point across to women, to just feel comfortable, or go beyond what you're comfortable with doing, and just go out there. Just really nothing bad that could really happen out of that. I do believe it's improving. I don't necessarily think it's 100% yet, but I think we are in a better shape than we were even 5 years ago, 5, 6 years ago. So I think they are starting to see the benefit, and not just in women, but just including diversity, different cultures, different perspectives, and different backgrounds. And especially as women, I think you're bringing all of those, as well as just a whole different way of dealing with problems, dealing with just different situations that might come about. But I also feel like you do have to prove yourself as well. So I don't think it's a given that, oh, okay, we have a female leader in this role, and sometimes when you have a male leader in a particular role, it's just assumed that, okay, this person knows everything, and they're regarded as someone higher than they even may be. But I think I do still see when you have a female leader in that role, there is a little bit of time that person still has to prove herself. Where, okay, let's see if she's really in the right position, or how did she get there. So I think I did feel that when I first got here as well, that okay, I got the job, but you still have to take some time, and that time could be years, to really prove that, hey, I got this job for a reason, I can do it. And I did find it's not just proving yourself to management or executives, but it's also proving yourself to your subordinates or whoever you might be managing as well. Because there might be times where they may have wanted a job and they didn't get it. So you, and then now you have a female leader in that job. So you really have to go out there and show that, hey, I didn't get this job because I'm a female. I got this job because, I have the technical skills, I have the management, the organization, the leadership skills. So you have to start small. You have to have a big vision, but you can't just, you got to take small steps, baby steps to get to your big vision. But it's sometimes just writing out your vision in some sort of proposal or some sort of manner, and showing to your management that here's my broader vision for maybe the next 5 years, here's my vision for maybe the next 3 years, and then here's my vision for the next year. And then here's I'm planning to get there. So just showing management or executives that you have a plan. You're not just coming in here to pick and choose or just do things out of the fly. That really probably won't get you where you want to be. So just showing that you're organized, what you want. Here's the vision, and having them. Having the stakeholders like executive management approve that vision too. Because if you're heading in a certain direction and they're kind of wondering what you're doing or what is your end goal here, that might not be the best way to go about it. But just showing them like, okay, I did all my research, here's the experience I brought with me that showed that I've tried different things in the past, that either they did go well and that's what I want to do here, or they didn't go well and I learned from that. And this is how I'm going to change it here. But ideally, this is where, and also tying that back to the mission and the organization. I have a lot of DoD background, and it's a very different, lifestyle there. So if I brought, and I know for me, when I brought that initially here, oh, this is how we did it in DoD. But we're at a main research hospital. There's clinical care, patient care going on. You just can't bring that same perspective. But it helps to have that perspective of how, okay, ideally we want to be here. But at a hospital, okay, there's a little bit of give and take. You can't just stop an MRI scanner to do patching when a patient's in there. So just understanding the organization you're in now, and the goal and the vision, and getting stakeholders and executives, especially executive management's buy-in and input on that really helps. So they know that you have you have a goal, they agree with that goal, here's the direction you're gonna go. And if there's any changes in that direction, communicating that. And I do also believe that helps manage your subordinates as well. So they know that, okay, we have a new manager here, here's her plan. And whether they agree with the plan or not, at least they know, okay, this is the plan. And then I truly value other people's input too. So I don't go out there and just say, oh, give me all your ideas, but I say, here's my idea and here's where I want to go with this. But if you do really see any red flags with it, I'd love to know, because I don't want to get to the end goal and then have someone say, oh, well, we kind of told you this isn't going to work from the beginning. But I don't disvalue anyone just because of the position that they're in or the level that they're in. I feel like everybody has something to contribute, and I'd love to hear it. So I actually I love getting constructive feedback from everyone, not just criticism, but I do ask them, like, if you have something to say, put it in a constructive manner so that people can truly learn from others, from yourself, from mistakes, from lessons learned. But I do feel like you do, coming back to the question, you do have to take baby steps to get to your vision. But knowing what those baby steps are, and then communicating that to higher levels, to your subordinates, and also multiple teams, because security is not something you can do with one person or just a security office. Most of the time, it almost always involves multiple other teams, like different groups, different stakeholders, even different organizations. So it's not just the NIH security office or technical teams. It might involve vendors. It might involve other organizations that we conduct business with or we need information from. So making sure that all stakeholders kind of know where you're going, what the new policies might be, what are the long-term goals, so they know how to get there, including medical device vendors. If you tell them, hey, in a year we're going to require two-factor authentication, they might not be able to do it now, but at least they know, okay, in a year we might not be able to do business with healthcare organizations or NIH if we don't get there. So that's really helped as well. So my thoughts on where cybersecurity in general is going to go is it's going to be the number one thing. It's not going to go away. I think it's only going to get bigger and better. As we come across a lot of IoT, Internet of Things kind of devices, everything's online these days. People's pacemakers, IV pumps, everything has an IP address. And when you start putting things out there, there's more chances for them to be compromised, but then that also means that there's more of a chance for you to, opportunity for you to secure them as well. Specifically in the healthcare world, I think it is becoming bigger already, the emphasis on healthcare security. I know it wasn't there previously, so I'm happy to see that there is a lot of attention on healthcare security because it is a big deal. You definitely don't want to be an MRI scanner and have it compromised and either it stops in the middle of it or something happens, or even IV pumps. You don't want the wrong kind of liquids or whatever you're getting into you, be compromised, because that could be a life and death situation. Pacemakers, anything that they're putting IP addresses on these days, there's a huge risk to that. So I do feel in the medical industry we can do a better job in trying to secure these medical instruments and actually working with the manufacturers and FDA on securing these. I think there really needs to be a big emphasis on that. I think we're heading that direction, but I think we can do a better job in that. But just in general, cybersecurity, I think there's just so much exciting stuff that's coming. Automation, having robots do things for you, and even in the healthcare sector, if you a lot of surgeries these days, it's not actually the surgeon performing; they're actually using robots to perform the surgery. So it's just amazing things to see. Maybe in the future there might be. I think that it's already there. I think it's just going to be even cooler in the future of telemetric devices, or you don't have to even be in the same room. There's surgeries that can happen with the surgeon just pushing some buttons, and so yeah, it's scary, but also very exciting things to come.